Daniel Cormier came out. He was talking about Amanda Nunes, and he made the comment that Amanda should have just gone to sleep. Now, that comment from DC came on the heels of Coach Mike Brown having to defend Dustin Poirier for Dustin tapping and Dustin not going to sleep. That is odd to me for a number of reasons. I mean, I'll just start with the coach in me. I have been told my entire life, and I believe it, and I preach to the generation that I work with, and I believe the philosophy that you're going to compete the way that you train. And I know that Daniel follows that belief system too. So is Daniel in a practice room where if you're caught in a choke, you fall asleep? You don't do what you're trained to do? And what good would it do is the other side of it? It's to show your bravery or to show that you're a fool. Because the rules call for you to tap out when you're in that position. You're going to show you're a fool, you're above the rules, and you want the whole world to see? Don't forget, the rear naked choke has not worked even 90% of the way it's appeared to you guys. The rear naked choke is what an athlete goes to and gives to his opponent when they've had enough. It's not, I get broken down and the legs come in, you stretch them out, and you get under the chin, you come this way, you come the other, and you lock, and then you twist it this way. That's the way you would show it in practice. But the rear naked choke that you guys have seen to the world, you've seen 3 out of every 10 that are real. So if you're faking the position as a way out, why wouldn't you just close your eyes and fake it? Did you guys not see Tito box Anderson Silva? When you've had enough, and you just fall down and lay there. Why would you need to be all the way out? Why do you need to show the world I hung in there too long and I just simply don't know what I'm doing? My coaches didn't prepare me the right way. It seems like a little bit of a strange thing to do. As soon as your toast is burnt, you should know. I have the same problem with cornermen. You're not a good cornerman if you've never stopped a fight. It's as simple as that. If you believe that you should leave your athlete out there until they can no longer go on, you should have your license taken away. A good cornerman will get his athlete out of there the moment he knows my athlete can't win this fight. I've heard some trainers go, well, he was having his Rocky moment, and I'm so proud of him. Do you guys remember what Cain Velasquez did to Junior Dos Santos, and they left Junior out there? Junior, within the 6-minute mark of those 25-minute contests, had no way to come back. And it wasn't, well, he might catch one lucky punch. Cain could drop his hands and Junior could hit him as hard as he could. Junior was exhausted. He had absolutely no chance, and he comes out looking like the Elephant Man. And you got to look around and go, who did that serve? Who was that better for? What kind of optics would it be if Amanda was snoring because she didn't know the sport well enough to know that she was tapped, right, that she had it tight? I've seen people in my own jiu-jitsu class fall asleep. They're white belts, every one of them. It's not a natural reaction to tap. A natural reaction is go, ow, you have to train. You have to prepare to know how to tap. Nobody has ever fallen asleep in a black belt class that I've ever seen, nor would they, because they are trained. They know when they are caught. They let their partner know. I just find it to be a very bizarre concept. I don't know where you guys stand on it, because I have heard many people think that I'm a prude, think that the person should fall asleep, or if your arm's at an arm bar and you know that you're caught, let it break. And there's an honor in that. And I understand that breaking an arm or breaking a leg in a submission is very different than falling asleep. I do get that concept. One injures you and you've got to be out for a period of time. The other one, you wake up and you suffer a little bit of embarrassment and get up and go home. It just seems like a very bizarre thing that somebody would suggest for anybody else to do, particularly if you are in a coaching role. Because if it's good enough for Amanda, then that means that's the message that you're handing to your students. So you're telling your students when they're in trouble, instead of signifying what the ABC itself has brought in as the universal sign of surrender within our sport, you just go to sleep. It's just a weird concept to me. And I've seen plenty of people pretend to be knocked out. Did you ever see Bruce Seldon and Mike Tyson fight? I mean, those popcorn punches, and Bruce is out there on ice skates and he's falling down. Tito versus Anderson, just for a more recent example, where everybody's fine, but man, I don't want to be out here. Close my eyes. He can't follow up and hit me. I mean, this is a real thing. This happened with a guy. The Ragin' Redneck was his fight name. And Wes Sims was his cornerman. And the Raging Redneck, this punch comes and it misses. It misses by 3 inches, right? I mean, this is like Josh Thompson hitting Gerald Strebit. It just simply doesn't land, and he goes out. So the Redneck goes out, but it's MMA. So he does this on his feet. So he comes down to the canvas thinking the referee's going to step in and break it. The referee does not, and the opponent comes down to follow up. So the Redneck, who's pretending he's out, when he sees the guy coming down, he tries to get out the way. He was pretending he was asleep, and when the guy was coming down, the Raging Redneck had to come back to life, do whatever he did, and then the fight gets stopped. So Wes Sims comes in, and Wes Sims dealing with the Redneck, and Wes Sims has a towel. And he's like touching the Redneck's face, and when Wes pulls the white towel back, there was blood on the towel. And the Redneck goes, "Is that my blood?" And Wes goes, "Yeah." He passed out. I swear to goodness, I'm not making the story up. He sees his own blood, and he faints after twice pretending within the match that he had fainted. I just come back to it and go, if a cornerman's leaving a guy out there too long, or if a coach who's coaching anybody is telling them, don't protect yourself at all times, even though that is the absolute number one golden rule in unarmed combat, don't do it. Suffer whatever you have to suffer. Assume that the referee will see it and let it off before your brain cells go and perhaps you never even wake up again. To hell with it. It's the right thing to do. And for what? For the optics? For the shot? Is that the shot that you want? Is that the highlight that you want? You're down? You know what you look like when you pass out? It's not great. Sometimes your eyes are open. Sometimes they roll back. Your mouthpiece, you got drool coming. A number of people have voided themselves. I mean, is that what you want to do? And I'm asking you guys, because I know a lot of you think that that's a cool thing to do. Well, where do you stop it? If it's an armbar, can we agree? Tap before your elbow hyperextends. If it's a heel hook, can we agree? You tap before your ACL tears. And can we also agree that if you don't do those things, you're a fool? We're not going to look at you and go, great luck with a speedy recovery. We're going to go look at you. You're in pieces. You don't get to go to work anymore. You got to go hobble around the house, and you got to go under the knife. You got to deal with these doctors. You got to get into rehab. You're a fool. Aren't we? So why is those submissions different than this submission? And I think that we also don't know what Amanda was feeling. There are chokes that come around your arteries, and a blood choke puts you out very fast. An air choke could take 30 to 90 seconds. A blood choke could take 4 to 6 seconds. But to hear Juliana Pena and Rick Little, her trainer, explain that technique, it was the wrist bone right on the windpipe. Well, now you're talking, all right, now you're talking about a broken neck. You're talking about something completely different. We don't know for sure that Amanda was ever choking because we don't know this technique. We don't know this technique because we've never seen it before. We haven't seen it before, to the fact that experts like me didn't think there was a submission there. In all fairness, didn't know what had happened, hadn't got her legs in. Juliana said after the fact, that wasn't designed to tap her out. It was to hold the position so I could come around and put my legs in. So I only offer it to you. We don't really know what happened there. But to make believe that anybody who's risking themselves to that level of unarmed combat should not follow the golden rule, which is protect yourself at all times, I believe to be irresponsible.